Put me in, coach. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. Another night like tonight, and we're going back to audio-only format. This is episode 293 of the Anthem podcast, coming to you from the hashtag OTA LA Studios, high above the 110 freeway in downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening on your podcatcher of choice. The easiest way, I say this all the time, is anchor.fm/OTheAnthem. There you can find links to whatever podcatcher you want to listen to us on, and you can go... What are you doing, really?
We're live on the internet, and somebody...
You're gesturing and
like
mouth
you've
moving
never-
like I know exactly what you're talking about.
Have you ever been on a movie set before? Is this what you do? You step up behind the people?
You walk up to the actor, get in their eye line, and start acting like you're talking? Is that
Let
what
me get
you want?
right in your eye. I'm sorry, wait. Corey.
Hold on, I'm going to do
Is
this.
anything going wrong? Is something happening?
Something going on right now? Jesus Christ! A bunch of professionals here.
Listen, you guys gotta donate some money because we gotta get a studio. We gotta get a studio space. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Corey.
You know, the best place you can find us is anchor.fm/OTheAnthem. It is where you can find links to all the podcatchers, where you can find us everywhere. And yeah, I don't know why you're not bothering to go there all the time and find it.
And of course, you can find more O The Anthem at O The Anthem on Twitter and Instagram. That's where we post pretty often. If you're watching live right now, it's at facebook.com/O The Anthem. And you know what? You really should, because that new intro video, totally worth a watch.
Yeah.
Make sure you check that out week after week from now on. And you can find all the O The Anthem videos at youtube.com/O The Anthem. Of course, everything O The Anthem is available at otheanthem.com.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
It was a little bit of a dry run on the intro video this week.
Yeah.
Just because it was so close to being ready, and I just sort of wanted to like put it out there and see if anybody stumbled upon it to give us some notes or something like that. But
Well, and I'll tell you that what I've been hearing from everybody is I hate tuning in to that wait screen and not knowing how long do I have before the show's actually coming up. So now when we get about 10 minutes away from going live, you'll see the new wait screen, and it gives you something to watch. It's not just like...
yeah, I mean,
static.
it gave a little taste of Heretics. It had a couple classic O The Anthem episodes in there.
A little performance from us.
Yeah.
You can't miss that. I look skinny as hell, so y'all need to check that out just because I look skinny.
The choke is for real.
Woo, the choke is for real. But yeah, so make sure that you check that out moving forward.
Yes, indeed.
All right, so
We have a loaded week. We need
do.
to get right into it.
let's do that, and we'll start out right at the top with a little sports ball. Oh, you know what? For some reason, the Stream Deck not working, so that's super awesome. Thanks, Stream Deck. Here we go. Sports ball. No, motherfucker. It's like selecting it, but it's... So apparently the Stream Deck is not just used to select
That is weird
it.
as hell, by the way, because I just heard the thing for sports ball, but I couldn't hear anything else coming in.
That is
before
weird.
that.
You didn't hear anything from it
No.
before? I mean, I unmuted the... it has been a Gremlins kind of night. It seems like Monday is not a friendly night for us to be recording.
Well,
But
we've also had the last 3 weeks. We've had to have some sort of weird updates to those servers and everything.
I don't know what is going on. But you know what? OBS is a fantastic program. I tell people all the time, this is what you should be using to stream live. This is what you should be using to record anything. I use it for all of the projects that I work on.
Yeah.
But it has been a pain in the ass lately.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I might have to go see if there's something else. The
Get
problem
your
is-
shit together.
The problem is it's open source, so
Yeah.
I love it. Somebody finds a problem, they fix it, then the OBS people are like, "Yep, that fixes it," and they update. But then it's like every Monday there's a goddamn update. And,
Yeah.
Then we're dealing with Windows updates and driver updates and OBS updates and stuff.
Blah, blah,
Worse.
blah, blah, blah.
Anyway, sports ball.
Yes.
So Ravens played on Sunday this week, which will be changing in the near future, and won in an amazing fashion.
Yes. The number 3 seed Houston Texans.
Just not working at all.
The number 3 seed Houston Texans came into Baltimore this past week and were demolished thoroughly. 41-7 the final score. And Lamar, again, 4 passing touchdowns, another amazing run. Just having his way with every single defense that he comes across. It's just been a truly inspiring thing to watch.
Yeah, it's like well, inspiring is one way to look at it. The other one is watching you play a game of Madden against you know me or Roberto, where it's just like, listen, this is not even really fair at this point. What are we doing with our lives? So
It's almost like they're not playing the same sport.
Yeah,
like how incredible he's been playing.
Yeah,
and I mean, there's been MVP talk with Lamar. I think that beating Deshaun Watson in such a convincing fashion in a game like this certainly helps your chances of being elected as the MVP.
Yeah, beating him, but also just keeping him off the field, which seems like it can be half the battle, but like the Ravens had the ball for so much of that game.
It's ridiculous. I was watching Sunday Night Football because I worked all Sunday.
Yeah.
Got home in time for Sunday Night Football, and watching the Bears and the Rams just try and get like first downs.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's 3rd and 15, and they're throwing these like little screen passes, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going? Is this what the NFL is? Is this what it used to be like in the dark ages?
Yes. This is what it is like for everyone else now.
It's not like these like sustained 10-minute drives that the Ravens are constantly like putting on. It's such a good time. Brendan texted me while the game was going on. It was just like, I hate to be this person who's like saying this out loud, but like, do you think there's any team that people want to face less than the Ravens right now? And I'm like, no, probably not.
No,
Like,
beat the Patriots, 49ers. What do you think about the aberration early in the season with the 49ers?
I mean, I think they're a good team. I feel like it's not that they're like lucky, but they're just sort of like, sometimes I feel like a game can just sort of like fall into you a little bit. And I feel like that's sort of been happening with the 49ers here and
Momentum's a big thing, and
Yeah.
they get momentum early, and then it's hard to get it back. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Patriots are still going to be a challenge in the playoffs. Like, in New England at Foxborough, it's really tough to like compete with them there.
Yeah.
But I just really everyone on this Ravens team is such an easy team to root for, and that is making it so wonderful. They're all in together. The offense and the defense, it's like all one collective unit.
Yep.
Mark Ingram's telling people to meet him outside M&T Bank if they don't think that he Lamar's MVP and stuff like that. It's wonderful. And I think what I like most about this team is they're not like getting ahead of themselves, or they're not like feeling themselves. They're just sort of like, it's very one week after the other. They're very focused on what they have to do going ahead. And it's not like, we're not going to look into the Rams until we're done with the Texans, you know? And that's wonderful as well.
And, I said this week, and then I realized I haven't watched the Rams play in the last few weeks, but I said, hey, next week could be a Super Bowl preview. But then apparently the Rams have fallen off since like the first 3 weeks of the season I actually saw them.
Yeah, and the NFC is really tough because it's going to be, you're going to have to really put up a nice record to make the playoff in the NFC.
Yeah.
The AFC, like the Steelers are still sort of in it, like 5 and 6. And so it's like, there's more chances in the AFC other than the top 4 seeds, it seems. Like the wild card's pretty wide open. Wild open. But the NFC is like very like locked down sort of at this moment. It's all positioning and seeding and stuff like that.
Well, speaking of next week's game.
Yes.
When it may not be a Super Bowl preview, but it may be the only game of the year that we're going to get to watch live.
Yeah.
And still, we don't get to watch it at a normal time, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, 5:20 to me sounds like
it's not horrible.
An ideal time.
Could be worse.
Yeah.
But I mean, wouldn't a 1 o'clock game that plays 4 o'clock on the East Coast be better?
Yeah.
On a Sunday where I can tailgate before and not have to rush from work and yell at
yeah,
people
but
to
I
get out the
mean,
door?
I'm fine with the Monday. It's a spectacle too. So
Yeah.
if I'm gonna go to the game, I would like the whole thing with the Monday Night Football vibes and stuff like that.
And so burying the lead, Ravens are on Monday Night Football next week. They're playing the Rams in LA. And of course, we will be in attendance. Section 100, 200,
2 something.
200.
Yeah.
We are on the Rams side of the field, but kind of in the bowl end of the stadium, like across from the torches.
Yeah.
For those of you who know anything about the Coliseum.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, we're going to have 2 Rams fans with us.
At least they're part of the game.
Yeah,
Until
until
they get tired of the shit talk.
they're going to wander off to the bar probably about 2 minutes in, but otherwise they'll be with us. So it'll be an interesting experience, I think. And just, I've been to the Coliseum and watched the Rams a couple of times, and it was always fun. But I always hated that, like, if I'm there for the Rams, it seemed like the visiting team had so many fans in the stadium.
Yeah.
This will be one time when I'll be glad for all the fans. It'll hopefully be like Miami back in 2015. When
that would be great. Yeah.
we showed up and it was like, oh, so this is apparently M&T
And
South. Who
it
knew
sounds
that?
like the West Wing is gearing up for an all-time kind of event with everyone coming out for that. So I'm excited. The West Wing, for people who don't know, is like the Los Angeles chapter of the Ravens Roost, essentially. So
But apparently people from Phoenix are coming in,
Yeah.
people from San Francisco. So like West Wing started out in LA, I think, but now it has like a little mini chapter in Phoenix and a mini chapter in San Francisco. And basically where the team might come play, they have kind of sprung up. But a lot of them are coming to LA because even 2 weeks ago, you could get tickets for like $80 that were really good views. So they're like,
I mean, I think really good views is kind of like question it. Like the thing looking around for tickets for the stadium, it's very tough to know if you're like getting good seats or
Well, to be fair though, it's also one of those old.
It's like
stadiums.
100-year-old stadium too. So
There may not be a bad seat. You might be far from the field, but like there's no obstructed views because there's no roof. There's no kind of like second story really. So really everything is just open to the field. It's a track and field stadium, not a football stadium. So
and generally speaking, if you're looking for where to sit at a football game, I avoid like down low because I don't want to sit too low to the field because you miss out on a lot of it. The reason why they have the cameras sort of at like the 200 level is sort of it's the ideal position to be able to see depth across the field and see like where people are moving and stuff like that.
And so I never understood people who wanted to sit at field level. Like you're literally blocked by the
bench,
team.
yeah.
Like, and if you sit at one end, like your seats in at M&T were about where you want to be at the lowest level.
Yeah.
But action down at your end of the stadium, really up close. And then when it gets to the other end of the stadium, it starts to like, I can't really tell what's going on because
I mean,
you're almost behind the line.
It's one of the. I don't feel like the NFL experience gets better down low. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you might not like being up in the 300 or like upper deck level of a stadium because you're too far away from the action. But I mean, like as far as being able to actually process everything that's happening, you get a better view from an overhead angle. Or as much of an overhead angle as you can get.
But also, we're used to watching on TV. So it's like, I'm used to following at a certain pace and from a certain distance. And it's really hard to watch. Like, I noticed at M&T that I would get fooled by fake handoffs and play action and stuff like that. Because it's like, I have no idea, no concept of where the ball actually is without watching from that higher point of view down to the field. So,
I would like for us to record after the game next week.
Yeah, and so I posted on the the Anthem Instagram, like, oh, you're going to have to wait 2 weeks. But despite the fact that I will have worked a full day and then gone to the game and then work a full day the next day and then catch a cross-country flight, Corey wants to record on Monday night. So I guess we'll have to...
I mean, if we could, I just feel like, we would be taking advantage of everyone having our immediate thoughts on the Ravens game.
So the game will be done around 8. So given the traffic situation, we'll get back here around 1 a.m. and then
everything will be set up and ready to go, though.
Yes. Okay. All right. So we can get started, I guess.
Yeah. What was, just as a quick aside, what was your plan for getting back from the game? Because I was literally thinking I might just get a Metro bike and just ride up Figueroa.
Well, we're with people who don't know how to ride bikes, so I don't know if that's going to work.
I mean, they can wait for an Uber all they want. I'm just saying, like, I can get back to...
I was actually considering taking the Exposition line the other way.
Yeah, the subway.
Yeah, but going west and then getting an Uber from, like, Vermont back here. Because trying to get on the train to come back to downtown will be murder. Trying to get an Uber at the stadium will not be fantastic.
It'll be way surge priced and everything.
Just take a train like 2 stops west, and then you'll get an Uber for the normal without the surge rate.
Yeah.
And it'll get back faster because they'll just go up Vermont and come down. So
you would still have to deal with all the people on the Metro, though, for those 2 stops because people would be going west.
Yeah, not as bad as people coming east. Though.
Yeah.
Because the problem with the Exposition is it doesn't really go anywhere. So it's good to get back downtown to change to a train that goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's
Get
the
to
thing.
7th Street.
You end up like getting to 7th Street, and then it's like humanity just piles out of the train to the different levels. So, But yeah, so we'll record on Monday night. You can join us on Monday night. I would say it would be later than normal, but
Yeah.
it's about the same time we've been going live for the last few weeks. So let's hope there's not any issues.
Well, if we
delay.
can get all the things worked out before, all the gremlins worked out before we leave for the game, that would
Yes.
be lovely.
All right. Anyway, so speaking of Monday Night Football, we recorded last week. Well, how did we miss that?
It was on Thursday. That's
it was
why.
Thursday
Yeah.
night. Yeah, I was thinking it was Monday night, but I guess it was the Thursday night game this
Mm-hmm.
week. So something interesting happened. Speaking of the foreign,
I don't know if
5
y'all
and 6
heard.
5 and 6 Steelers can't get it done on the field, so they start trying to get it done with their mouths. And somebody basically just said, "Hey, shut your mouth."
I don't know if that's necessarily how I would frame what happened, but I do think that well, starting off, for anyone who doesn't know, Myles Garrett on the last play, basically of the game, sacked or tackled Mason Rudolph, who had to this point thrown 4 picks and was clearly going to be everything everyone was talking about. Took him down on a hard tackle on the last play, and there was some jostling on the ground, and then all of a sudden Mason Rudolph grabs for Garrett's face mask, and then Garrett grabs his and then pulls his helmet off and then hits him over the head with his own helmet.
Well, to be fair, Rudolph tried to take off Garrett's
Yeah.
helmet. He like yanked.
I
it
really,
up.
in the days since that has happened, I feel like I'm seeing less of the part of the video where Mason Rudolph is trying to yank off Garrett's helmet first.
And he's doing a lot of like left and right yanking and up and down. And
Well, because like Rachel was watching it with me, and we were talking about like, well, what kind of punishment might happen from this? And I was just like, well, Garrett's done for the season.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that he'd come back this year. Yeah.
strike the quarterback in the head with a helmet, with his own helmet.
And there's probably some fines to go around for like somebody who like pushes somebody, like, you know, sort of like sucker punch pushes people,
number
or kicking
50
people on the field.
Number
and, like,
53 comes in hard with two
Yeah.
rights, trying to get his fist in between the eye gap of the helmet, pushes him to the ground, and then points at the one guy who like turns to face all of the umpires while the guy's kicking him in the head on the ground. I'm just like, oh, you set up a screen so you could kick the dude in the head. You got to get a fine for that too.
I think Mason Rudolph should have been suspended for at least a game too, just for like really starting that whole thing.
And it was really on him.
I mean, like, it's a dual-sided thing because, like, yes, Garrett hit him late, and hit him really hard, and like,
and drove
him into the ground and stuff like that. But then it looked like throughout the entire video, like, whenever I can see Rudolph's face, it looks like he's just being annoying, yelling something annoying at somebody.
Yeah,
like,
I was waiting to hear the hard R. I was waiting to hear somebody just be like, well, he was out there shouting the hard R.
It would be great if NFL Films would just get on it and release like the unedited tape of what was being said.
Like, at some point, so does that justify ripping off a guy's helmet and beating him with it if he's using racial epithets at,
If there's a Furman tape situation going on in the head of the...
if there's a Brady on Sunday Night Football situation going on, friendly or not, you're dropping hard R's?
I don't know. It's like people forget about Mason Rudolph, but it's fine. It's Garrett's the. I mean, like, as soon as you hit somebody over the head with their own helmet, like, you kind of lost the moral argument.
Yeah,
like,
but I think like at some. Oh, so that just still goes off. That's cool. Yep.
Thanks for that.
All right. Cool. So we're trying to keep it a tight show. So we got a timer going. But you lose the moral high ground, but at the same time, you beat a dude with his own helmet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I like how he got hit by the helmet too, and like it's like nothing happened. Like he's immediately looking at the ref, like, "Where's the flag? Where's the flag?"
And did you see him go down after it?
Yeah.
Though? Like, so like he's looking for the flag, nothing comes in, and then you see him go like, oh, and he goes. And he falls down as if like, oh, I'm gonna have to take a fall here if I want to get a flag of some variety. So
I don't think anyone saw it.
Bounces off his skull, and then he like turns and he's like, wah, wah. Anyway,
It sounded like your Maxon impression right there.
Basically, yeah. Well, I mean, he sounded a little bit like
baby.
Maxon with his whining, so I guess it fits. But what happened to Myles Garrett? I didn't even see what the
suspended for the rest of the season.
Oh,
He's
did he get the
appealing.
rest of the season?
Yeah, he's appealing. He's going to go to New York on Wednesday to argue in person.
Yeah.
I
feel like it might end up with a little less than the rest of the season. Well, we have like
wouldn't it be funny if he kicks in the door and just starts hitting all the arbitrators with helmets?
And it's just like
it's not so bad. See,
you're fine. Yeah. So I imagine it will be a 4 or 5 week suspension. But by the way, just to point out, the allegation.
How much would they fix the concussion problem in the NFL of all the NFL executives who were in the board meeting to decide whether or not they were going to reinstate Garrett? All got concussions from getting hit in the head by helmets. All of a sudden,
this is terrible.
Oh my God, this is what the players go through all the time. I couldn't sleep last night because I might have died.
As a reminder, I believe Ray Rice got 4 games.
Yeah.
For the initial report that he
physically
assaulted his then, I guess, girlfriend. Yeah. Fiance, which they no, because they weren't even engaged.
they got engaged right after that.
Yeah, and they got married right after that. Yeah. But 4 games for assaulting your much smaller, non-professional athlete girlfriend off the field.
Yeah.
But they give you the rest of the season for assaulting a clad, a shoulder padded.
Yeah, well, he didn't have a helmet anymore, so that's sort of like.
But you know,
I mean, there was no way he was not going to be suspended for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
that's just like
it's sending a message.
Yeah,
I mean, not okay.
I mean, there's 6 games left or 5 games left or something like that.
Well, all I'm saying, they have to send a message.
And I mean, like the playoffs too. Like, there's no. He's suspended for the playoffs if the Browns were to make it. So
Vontaze Burfict is still in the league, so they have to send a message like, "Hey,
he was
not okay.
He was suspended for the rest of the season.
This season?
Yeah.
For what?
He did something else that Vontaze Burfict does. And the NFL is just like, all right, fucking for real, you're done. Sit down and come back in 2020.
The quarterback was walking off the field after a 3rd down, and Burfict came in for a helmet-to-helmet hit. And it's like, yeah, that was a little late, Vontaze. Man, I didn't hear the whistle. Like, everybody was walking off the field.
Literally just kicked him in the nuts. Like really? How do you do that?
Dirtiest player for long. All right. So, but speaking of walking on and off the field, somebody took the field this week who has not taken the field in a long time. Now, it wasn't a professional field. It was a high school field in Atlanta. Which, by the way, did you hear why?
Yeah.
Talking about Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick had a workout this week. It was his first workout in 3 years.
Yeah.
It was originally scheduled to be at the not Superdome.
The Falcons training facility.
The Falcons training facility, yes.
And the Falcons staff was going to be there to do the video and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they brought in Hugh Jackson and somebody else to help run the workout.
Yep.
And they had wide receivers there that were going to catch balls and stuff like
that.
Yes. But this whole thing
and no media. No media was allowed. Closed workout.
This whole thing was a humongous clusterfuck immediately. So traditionally, if you were going to have a tryout of some sort of or if you were say you need a new kicker, you needed to find a new kicker, and you were going to bring a whole bunch of people in for workouts. You do that on Tuesday. That's the usual day where teams do this sort of thing. Instead, they announce this on Tuesday and say that it's going to happen on Saturday, which is the day before the game. So no head coaches or general managers are going to be able to get there. Apparently, once Kaepernick shows up, they start talking about how you have to sign this waiver and say that there was some questionable legal things that were going on with the waiver situation. There was a whole lot of the NFL saying we held this tryout and Kaepernick didn't show up, and we gave him every opportunity to try and make the team again. And
it was just a lot, and no media is going to be allowed. Oh
yeah, and then there was the rumor that Nike was going to be filming it, and Nike had to put out a statement going no, absolutely not, we are not filming that.
And it just basically, it was how secret can we make this? And also, we're going to make you sign a bunch of stuff.
How much can we make it look like we're giving you a chance without giving you a chance?
Yeah.
That's sort of how it felt.
So
from the periphery.
So instead, Kaepernick called up some wide receiver friends of his and went out to a high school in Atlanta and did a workout there instead. And apparently looked freaking amazing.
Well,
given.
the things I've heard from the let's at least put it in this context. He found out on Tuesday that he was going to have to put on an exhibition for people on Saturday.
Yeah.
I imagine that if I woke up tomorrow and somebody was like, "Hey, a lot of baseball scouts are going to watch you play baseball this Saturday and think about whether or not they're going to sign you," I'd be like, "I am not in fucking baseball shape." Now Kaepernick is in the position of being a professional athlete and the ability to.
So you think he got in shape in 4 days?
No, but I'm
to
saying
go
like
out?
I mean like at least he probably keeps up. Obviously he's staying in shape.
Yes.
He's working out. He's doing things to prepare himself to possibly play football. But like the idea of like you hear word in 4 days you're gonna have to put on like you're gonna. It'd be like if you had a weightlifting competition and you just found out it's happening in 4 days. You're like, I don't have enough time to like get into the proper training to really show my best ability. But he looked good. The ball, everything I hear is that the power on his throws is still there. He throws very fast bullet passes, and that he was showing a lot of range on the deep ball and stuff like that. The accuracy was a little bit here and there, but that could be the rustiness.
But also kind of always been kind of here or there. So
he didn't run really during the whole workout, but like everyone was saying he was moving around just as well as he was before, and he was agile and stuff like that. So I mean, it sound the thing I was sort of hearing from scouts was like he's not a starter in the NFL right now. Like he's not of that level, but he's a very valuable backup quarterback.
Wait a second. I'm gonna remind you that earlier this episode we talked about a guy named Rudolph who is a starter in the NFL right now.
Oh, I know. I guess the what I meant by that was that turn off the alarms.
My alarms are all off. Everything's off. It's totally silent. Oh no, you're right.
Yeah,
got it. Got it.
I mean, like Mason, he's better than Mason Rudolph, but that follows under the logic that he wouldn't be more ideal for Pittsburgh than Roethlisberger if he was available. Like I'm not factoring in current.
He is not. He has no offer to play right now.
Oh, I know,
and
but
there are like 14 backup quarterbacks in a starting position right now.
Oh, I get you, but I'm saying like what the scouts were trying to say was if we were living in the world where every quarterback was healthy.
Okay, yeah.
And like he wouldn't necessarily have a spot to start somewhere. He's not one of the 32 best quarterbacks kind of thing, but he is probably that 32 to 50 conversation of quarterback. And that person is very valuable every single year. You don't. The reason why Hoyer fucking played for 17 different teams is because he's always in demand because he's a really good backup quarterback who can handle the job in case something happens.
Teddy Bridgewater now with his third team filling in as a starter. So.
Right, and he used to be a starter, and once he wasn't able to hack it anymore, he became a backup quarterback, and I don't think there's anything wrong in that, and I think that 3 years off is a long time for Kaepernick, and I think that he's going to have to, like, if he wants to be back, he's really going to have to, like, take his ass down, because the last I heard he was still asking for like NFL starter money, like $10 million a year kind of thing.
What does Teddy Bridgewater have?
Not that much.
No, he's making like $9 million.
I don't think he's quite up there. I think he's like in the $6-7 million range.
Okay, well,
which is still a lot for a backup quarterback, but not like.
How much is Joe Flacco's backup making? Because he's earning his keep right now.
They're on rookie contracts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's poor Joe with his $27 million cap hit. That's really dragging that thing down. God, that Joe Flacco's a real pain in the neck. And see how we can put him on our injuries.
Yeah. By the way, thank you, Denver. Thank you. Thank you for taking that off the cap for us. And anyway. So I think the bigger part of that story though is that Jay-Z apparently is the one who set this all up. Allegedly because he felt as though he took a hit by signing with the NFL and thought that he could somehow buoy his reputation.
Apparently, once he got in with the NFL, he started hearing from a lot of his friends about why aren't you trying to do anything for Kaepernick?
Yeah,
and he brought that concern to Goodell, who hastily made we'll do something this weekend.
Here's the thing. I believe Jay-Z says in a song, tell the NFL they need me, I don't need you. But he certainly did make a deal with the NFL. So, and didn't get the halftime show. That's going to be J-Lo this year. So, I don't know. I just feel like whatever impact Jay-Z may or may not have had, the reality is that this is the NFL who settled a lawsuit with Cap. And then this season has been more evidence that perhaps he is getting blackballed, because why would you start Mason Rudolph and not go give Kaepernick a contract?
Again, this seems to get forgotten a lot. When the Ravens were this close to signing Kaepernick, and his girlfriend tweeted out the scene from Django Unchained with the slave master and the house slave, and said that it was the Leo and Sam Jackson and Django, and said that it was Ray Lewis and Steve Bisciotti.
Yep.
That's a reason why you wouldn't get a job despite all the things that are sort of like hovering around your name. The problem with a lot of the NFL teams is that he could be very valuable to your like if he was back up in Kansas City, he would be very valuable to have like behind Mahomes kind of thing. But you're going to have to convince everyone in Kansas City. 50% of Kansas City is going to start hating you the second you sign him. And you're going to have to convince them all to not like make this a big, huge fucking deal. It brings a lot of pressure to the team for somebody who probably won't play that much. It'll be a constant source of conversation.
You're just basically making the argument that Kaepernick made. Because the only reason he's controversial is because they made his kneeling controversial. The league tried to make a rule change that would stop people from kneeling.
Well, yeah, I mean they did not handle this well, but I'm saying that don't get it twisted. I think that the NFL is the problem here. Like the NFL is the reason why Kaepernick isn't playing right now. But in addition to that, in addition to the NFL like sort of keeping him from being able to continue playing football, there is the problem of even if you have a team that would accept him, as far as like, you know, like you're in a Seattle, for instance, was always sort of like thought of as a place where he might go.
Yeah.
Because it's more of like a progressive, left-leaning city, so they'd probably be more okay with
like Washington, D.C.
Well, rather than bringing him into like, you know, Kansas City, like I said, where it would be a lot more.
Dallas.
You're more likely to have like a Trump supporter as a fan if you're the Dallas Cowboys than if you're the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
And I mean, like it's just like, I don't know. No matter where he signs, like Trump's kind of getting on the mic the next day and being like, you know, the Seahawks are the worst thing that ever happened to the NFL, and I'm thinking about sending them to Canada. I'm just gonna sell Seattle to Vancouver. Like
he's got his own problems he needs to worry about. But before we get to his problems, let's talk about the Astros problems. So this happened last week. I do believe, and Corey couldn't find it when he was reviewing, but I thought that we touched on it and just said, don't want to hot take this. Let's give it a week. So what has developed in the last week on this Astros story?
So the Astros, there was a video that came out of them basically tipping off-speed pitches before they came in. And in the week here since the story broke, there's been a whole lot of things that have come out. Number one, there was a documentary talking about the Astros winning the World Series that had a camera like stationed in the hallway where the Astros like walk off out of the dugout and like back towards the locker room. And it's clear like the camera was just set there.
Yeah.
And there's like just a table with a bat and a trash can right there and a little like a surface or something like that. And like a whole bunch of peanuts on the ground. Like somebody's been sitting there eating peanuts. And it looks an awful lot like that might be what they've been using to alert players on the field that off-speed pitches were coming.
Weird. Strange that you'd be taken down by your own.
And later there was another part of that video where you see the guy like picking up the laptop and leaving and stuff like that. So it seems like a temporary station of some kind.
Yeah. Something that you might not want people to see when they come through the dugout.
Right.
Later. Yeah.
So there's that. In addition, there was another Athletic report that had like an unnamed executive was emailing people saying we're looking for all different angles on how to cheat. Isn't that a great look? They didn't name the executive, which is kind of like making me worry that like a week from now, we're gonna hear that like Mike Elias was behind like a lot of this, and it's gonna really put the Orioles fans in a bind.
Then they go to the Orioles video and they see, is that a trash can? Unfortunately, they put Chris Davis on the trash can. He couldn't even make contact with it the entire season.
He couldn't recognize what was an off-speed pitch.
It's like, there was just like a constant drum beat all season. Yeah, Chris thought everything was off speed. He's just banging the drum every time.
This is crazy though. I really. It feels like you know when you're in trouble, the worst is like when the statement that comes out immediately after the scandal breaks we're gonna work with the league office.
Oh,
like usually if there's like a bullshit story about you write the Astros have never cheated. We've always found the integrity of the game the most important thing, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know, like we're gonna vehemently fight any allegations that we've done anything to the contrary. Like that's what it sounds like when you're like, I didn't do anything and I'm denying it. When you put out a statement going like, we'd rather not comment and we're gonna work with the league.
Yeah, work with the league is the equivalent of show me the rule. Show me the rule that says we couldn't bang on a trash can because we have a video camera in the dugout. It says specifically no videos in the dugout, but as you can see on our World Series video, it's in the hallway leading to the dugout, which is technically not part of the dugout space. So
it's like if you're sitting in the police interrogation room and the detective comes down and sits down and he's just like, so do you have anything you want to say? And it's like, I think you should just bring in the district attorney right now for the plea bargain talk. It's just like, okay. You've done something. I know this. Like,
P.S. This is my constant plan. They let you like camp out for 8 or 9 hours, right?
Yeah.
Then I let them get me in the box. Let them think they're getting me warmed up for an hour or two, and then you say, you know what? I think we can do this. I need you, but I'm not going to make a deal with you. I need you to get somebody from the state's attorney's office down here, and then I'll make a statement. And then I let them go through the whole rigmarole of like 3 or 4 hours of getting the state's attorney in and being like, all right, I need a recorder in here. I need somebody who's like taking notes and doing the whole thing. And then finally, when everything's set up, that's when I lean across the table and be like, well, here's the story. It started 2 years ago, blah, blah, blah. And then I get to right to the end of it. And then I'm like, and that's when the affair started with Detective McGillicuddy's wife. And she couldn't let it go. And there's the guy jumps across the table at me, and now there's like the state's attorney, and I'm like, by my calculations, we're at about 20 hours, so you boys got 4 to charge me or I'm out of here. And then they let you go. Or I come out with a huge fucking black eye, and they're like, he fell on his way back to the cell. Like, yeah.
It's weird. We hit the button to record on the camera, but it didn't record.
I just think it'd be super
funny how technology doesn't work like that sometimes.
It'd be super funny to have like a 20-minute long confession where nothing gets said, and then at the end you just see the guy look up and be like, and that's when I started fucking the detective's wife. And you just see him come across the table at the guy. And now we're sitting in federal court like, well, as you can see, Your Honor, this is approximately where I thought my civil rights started getting violated. And you can see the pictures from afterward.
Remind me when we're not on the podcast to tell you about Rachel's run-in with the cops here recently.
Oh, yeah. Very interesting. All right. Corey had a run-in with the cops too.
Oh my God.
Did you ever do anything about that?
Well, they had to send me the ticket. Like, they mail you the ticket separately and stuff like that. So I don't know how much that. I got pulled over for making a right-hand turn on a street that you can't make a right-hand turn on from 4 to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's like it's like the weirdest fucking thing. Like,
and they got you at like 6:55.
It was like 6:30, but I mean, like, still, it was like
towards the end of the hour.
The problem was I wasn't like paying attention to the sign, like, because it's one of those, like, if you see a sign that only applies like 3 hours a day on like a road you never travel, like, it just becomes
it won't be this time.
It just becomes camouflage after a while.
Yeah,
you know, like, you never think about it.
Yep.
And then when Google Maps tells you to turn down the street, you're just like, who am I to argue?
Yep. So thanks, Google. Yeah.
So we'll see. I still like. Have the fantasy that like I'm gonna like look into how this street got that law or like that exception put on it, and then I'm gonna like figure out that like it's part of some dark money that Garcetti has set up, and it's like I bring down the whole city government on this stupid right hand.
The cop was sitting there waiting to write tickets for people making right hand turns. So, And he made us late for a movie.
Yeah.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah. This man's got reviews to do. He can't be missing the beginning of movies. Anyway, all that
I
in.
had to take Rob's word for the beginning of the movie.
I wasn't paying attention. I made it up. It's fine. So don't watch Corey's Parasite.
I thought it was weird that Parasite started with the whole strip club scene at the beginning. I didn't see how it tied into the rest of the movie.
It's very strange. Clearly, the director just had an interesting opinion. Anyway, that's Sports Ball. Yeah. All right. So now we really have to lightning round the rest of these because we are at 40 minutes already.
I knew it was going to be a sports ball heavy show. There was a
we
lot going on here.
So I'm going to call this segment "We've Been Known." Or actually, maybe I've been known because report came out today. Pete Buttigieg, #1 in Iowa.
Yeah.
With a 15-point lead.
In the Des Moines Register poll.
Yes.
So what was funny is a little insider baseball for people who don't follow Iowa. There was a very reliable poll. There's like 2 very reliable polls in Iowa.
Yeah.
But the Des Moines Register one is like the gold standard of polling across the entire country.
Yep.
They only do like, I think it's like a quarterly poll essentially.
Yeah, and that's why, because they don't try to get.
There's only like 6 of them or something like that. So when it comes out, it's like a big thing, and because they're so accurate, traditionally, historically, people pay a lot of attention to it. So the second most accredited poll in Iowa came out like earlier this week.
Yeah.
And it had Pete Buttigieg in the lead.
And people were like,
I
don't know. Wait a second.
Now if Des Moines, Des Moines Register comes through with the real numbers and Pete's up front there, then we can believe it.
Yep.
And then it dropped and Pete's up front.
And 15 points over Biden, 10 points over his nearest competitor, 18 points over Sanders. And I have been saying that name since I think December of last year, when it was rumored that he was going to get in this race. And I said, you know what? There's some folks in here. Look at me. There's been some folks in Middle America who are going to look at this veteran who left his office to go to Afghanistan, did 2 tours in Afghanistan, 1 tour in Iraq, come home and then say, you know what? Yeah, I'm a conservative Democrat, but I make sense. I want to be fiscally conservative, but I also am socially liberal. Why? Because I'm a gay man. And I said there, I think we're going to get to the point where they're going to say, you know what? I'd rather have a veteran and I don't care that he's gay rather than I don't want a gay even though he was a veteran.
I mean,
Iowa is starting to prove that.
I think we have if everything lines up the way that the polls are sort of showing right now, we are going to have very interesting lead up to Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because so here's how it works this year or this time around. California moved way the fuck up to the first Super Tuesday.
Tired of being in the back of the pack.
Yeah. And that is more or less the ball game, it seems at this point.
Well, because New York and California are both in the first Super Tuesday.
But California is like with the mail-in voting. I think it starts like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like the first people. California has already been voting when Iowa starts. Like there will be mailed-in ballots by the time Iowa starts.
Now we won't have a count. We won't
have a
count.
And because there's so many mail-in ballots and you can send it the day of the election, there's going to be that like, well, we got to wait a week and a half until we have the actual results.
Unless Pete is up by,
or
4 million votes.
Unless Hillary is up by like, I don't know, 10 or 20,000 votes in Los Angeles and it's just like, let's just let's call it now. We'll just leave all these votes by mail in the boxes.
Still sitting in a warehouse somewhere uncounted, so I guess we'll never know. But your original point was that there will be 3 different winners most likely going into Super Tuesday.
If it lines up that way. Yeah. I mean, it would look like Pete would win Iowa, Bernie would win New Hampshire, Joe would win probably South Carolina, and maybe Nevada. Nevada seems like it might be more of a wild card.
Yeah. But also not a big state for Democrats in any event.
Yeah,
Nevada's not going to be one of those states.
I think what the hope of some people is that Nevada would maybe be a chance for you to win and get a little bit of a luster on you prior to Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
But like it's sort of all over the place as far as like who's it's a hard state to like poll.
Well, I mean, again, if you're Kamala Harris, you got to look at that and say, if I lose Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina, and I don't do well anywhere, I got to do well in Nevada or I got to drop by Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have my name on Super Tuesday and win something when it's really just distracting everyone from who the actual candidate's going to be.
And
Beto,
I mean, like,
one of the reasons
if you
Beto
feel like
fell
you're
out was
not,
that.
I mean, the argument for Harris would be that if she can win California, then she could do a lot of damage. And seeing as she's a senator from California, there's a good chance that she could win it. But I just don't imagine, like, you know, like if there was a Senate race where it was Kamala Harris or Pete Buttigieg who could run. I just don't imagine I would pick Harris. Like, I don't think that her California advantage is really anything. Like,
and by the way, I mean, in the end, a lot has come out in the presidential run, and she ran for Senate kind of as like, hey, look at I've done a lot of good work for the community, but we've learned through the presidential campaign that like, oh, you basically spent 10 years locking up people and being part of the problem.
If you're listening to this on Tuesday, the day that it's released, because why wouldn't you? Then we have a Democratic debate tomorrow on Wednesday.
Yes.
I think it'd be interesting to see if Pete gets some extra shots there. And this really is probably one of the last opportunities for a lot of these candidates to really have some sort of statement. So if you're like trailing behind a bit, if you're like a Cory Booker or something like that, you got to make some sort of statement victory. Like this, now is the time because money is running out for a lot of these people. Yep. And the availability to make more money is running out for a lot of these people. And it's just going to be like if we have the first 3 states pretty much decided already, then those are our 3 most popular people to go forward into the horse race of who might win. And that's all that's going to be. I mean, like the reason why Iowa is so important is because you get a week and a half or 2 weeks or something like that of like only talking about Iowa.
Yep.
And that's a lot of advantage to have up front. And if you finish 7th in Iowa, it's hard to make an argument for why you would win all these other states, but you would do so poorly in Iowa, which is like a nice like melting pot.
2 weeks later, when you do poorly in New Hampshire,
Middle America state, you know?
Yeah, when you do poorly in New Hampshire and South Carolina, you can basically say, here's a middling state, like a nice mixed state, a very northeastern Democratic state, and a southern Republican state, and I can't do well in any of those environments.
Yeah.
But vote for me on Super Tuesday because I can do very well everywhere else in the country.
The Bloomberg approach.
Well, yeah. So I think that those 2 races, well, maybe with Nevada as well, will also show us who's in it for themselves and who's in it for making the party better.
Yeah.
Because, and as much as I appreciate that Ted Cruz stayed in because eventually everyone else dropped out and Cruz was like the only voice against Trump when that happened. He stayed in at Super Tuesday because because Cruz wanted to be president. Had nothing to do with him doing well at any point.
Well, he won Iowa. And
he won Iowa, but then did so poorly compared in the next couple of states. Yeah. And then, by the way, almost lost his own state. And at that point, you got to be like, all right, you know what?
Got fucking crushed in New Hampshire too, if I remember correctly. Like he won Iowa, and everyone's just like, "Oh, do you think that Ted Cruz might be able to win this all?" And then all of a sudden, like placed like 5th in New Hampshire or whatever.
Yeah, and I think he dropped like 4th in South Carolina, 5th in New Hampshire, and it's just like, okay, so maybe not. And then they went to Texas. Texas on the first Super Tuesday,
and then he just managed to survive long enough to stay in the top 3 essentially.
Well,
like when
he had the Senate war chest that he could turn into his presidential war chest. So unlike some of these guys who are in their first term as senators or maybe like didn't raise the money because you're in a Democratic state that's very strong.
It's funny how money that comes into a candidate can be for whatever they decide to run for, not just like I'm giving you money to run for Senate and then you turn it into some sort of presidential war chest.
Yeah. Well, and I think that
a lot of dark money does that too, which is more the point. But like, there's nothing you can really do about that because if you're donating to Ted Cruz for America, or like Freedom USA Super PAC or whatever it is, like
they'll spend it how they want.
Yeah, they'll spend it however they want. So,
but I do think that Beto, one of his reasons was
Ted Cruz's cousin will spend that money how he feels.
One of Beto's reasons for not running for Senate was that basically, even though he had money left over, that people had donated it for him to run for president, and he didn't know that they would want him to run for Senate. And I just want to grab him and scream, like, guaranteed people would want you to get that Senate seat. That
They'd
they
be
don't
fine
care.
with it. They'd be
Yes.
okay.
But instead, he donated it to. You can donate it to charities as well. I think he donated it to a charity,
No. Okay.
or maybe his own reelection campaign for the House in 2
Well,
years.
he's not. He's a former congressman.
I know, but I think he's probably going to run it. He'll run again for something. He
I'm
just won't
sure,
be the
yeah,
Senate this year,
yeah.
and he's going to have to wait 4 years to run for the Senate if
Against
it's not this year.
Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Buttigieg is doing well. I called it 2 years ago. I'm hoping for a good Super Tuesday showing and eliminate some of this pack. And, I think I said it even a few weeks ago, like, hang on. I know he's not looking great now. He was running like 7th. And I was like, just wait. Just wait till we get to some of these states. And he apparently finally put boots on the ground in Iowa. And in 2 weeks went from 7th to 1st in Iowa. And you said he's got a really good campaign behind him.
Yep.
He's got strong supporters. And I think he is the guy when people are like, I'm a Republican, but I'm not voting for Trump. Who can I vote for? Here's a veteran. He's gay, Democrat, but he likes fiscal conservancy. I like
He's
that.
very moderate.
Very, very moderate in ways that make sense.
Yeah.
Now, I say that because I think that he is the best chance to bump off Trump. As a very left-leaning person, someone who posted today on Twitter that Bernie and AOC do not go far enough to push the party to the left.
Oh, my God.
Understanding that, I'm just saying the whole point of moving the country to the left is to get rid of the right.
Yeah.
And to do that, we really have to bump Trump off. And Bernie ain't gonna do it. And AOC ain't gonna do it. And Warren, God love her. Oh my God, the health insurance plan, the student loan plan. I love everything that Elizabeth Warren is saying, but I am rational enough to know she's not going to get rid of Trump because all she's going to do is anger Trump.
Well, and I think we talked about this. Like the battleground state polls are not looking good for anyone who's on the top there. It's all within the margin of error.
Yep.
And I mean, like, really at this point, we're just hoping that, like, really a bunch of Trump voters die. Like, I mean, that's more or less.
But here's the thing. I don't know that they're asking the right questions that Pete Buttigieg is in the discussion.
No, and I
if
think
he wins Iowa, he becomes a national figure.
You see, here's the thing. There's the way I'm looking at the Democratic primary right now is who would I potentially vote for and who wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Now, when the idea is, if Cory Booker won the nomination, which doesn't look likely, I would vote for him over Trump. I wouldn't be happy about it. He wouldn't be at the top of my list, but I would vote for him. But I wouldn't vote for him for the like when I vote in the primary, I'm not going to vote for Cory Booker. It just depends on who's running at the time that I'm voting.
Also, just so that's clear, I will not be voting this year, yet again, abstaining, unless someone is going to put giant meteor on the ballot, unless that's a possibility. And absent giant meteor, I might vote for guillotines 2020. That's the only way that I'm
right
casting a
in
vote.
guillotines.
Well, no, I don't even want to go into the ballot box because I don't want to participate in the game.
We count that as Democratic votes.
Guillotines. I don't know. There's a Communist Party USA.
I like the that was just a remix of the 30 Rock. Well, when I go in the ballot box, I just write Jesus on the ballot. Those are Republicans. We got that as a Republican vote.
But so we'll keep tracking that. Again, I think we're like, 6 weeks out from Iowa? No, 6 weeks out from Iowa. It's mid-January. So
yeah.
So maybe 8 weeks. 8 weeks out from Iowa, and then New Hampshire.
It's actually coming up.
Yeah, New Hampshire is first week in February.
Yeah.
And then it all really starts because I think March the 5th is Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we'll go.
It's early March, yeah.
Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, and then Super Tuesday.
Yeah, and South Carolina and Nevada happened, I think, back-to-back weeks,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. So
here we go.
Yep.
It's Decision 2020.
Boo.
Got to come up with something better than that. Anyway, so another story this week that I want to make sure we get to is that the Trump, not satisfied with ruining the country as much as he has thus far, has now decided to wade into the movie industry.
Yeah.
And you may disagree with me, but I don't think that this. The SEC, no. Who is it that's doing this? It's an administration. One of the administration.
I don't remember offhand.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Whoever it is saying that they are.
I think it's with the Justice Department.
It could be Justice.
Yeah.
It's a consent decree with the Justice
Right.
Department. Is saying that they are about to roll back the consent decrees that were entered into pursuant to US v. Paramount, which, quick reminder for everybody, is the decision that basically told studios you can't have a monopoly on everything. You can't make the movies and showcase the movies in your own theaters. And absent that, you also can't force a different theater to buy a big block of your films.
I mean, essentially what was happening was all the studios owned theaters. And, you know, like you would see Disney movies at the El Capitan kind of thing, you know?
Actually, Disney not party to that consent decree.
Well, they are, but...
Now they are.
No, they always were.
No, they were not considered one of the major theaters then. I'm telling you, I read the case.
Okay.
In 34, they were not considered it, which is why, by the way...
It was 48.
48. In 48,
Yeah.
they weren't considered it. And that's why they got to keep El Capitan, because they owned the theater, and then they joined and actually bought an entire...
I think there was a thing in the original judgment, though, that you were allowed to own, like, single sort of spots. You just
yes.
weren't allowed to own a... Because, I mean, like, there was, like, a Paramount theater in Times Square.
Yeah.
And Paramount would have hypothetically been able to keep that theater.
Yes.
But
Except
they
for
just
it's a
wouldn't have been
horrible
able to own, like, a chain. Like,
So what happened is
Yeah.
that Disney got big enough that they bought a small chain of theaters, and then the Justice Department was like, "Oh, hey, this applies to you now.
Yeah.
So either we're going to sue you, or you can agree to join and divest yourself." And then they did, but they kept El Capitan.
I mean, basically, what it did was when I tweeted about it earlier, there's only been a couple times in movies where there's sort of been like one specific incident that became like a paradigm shift for the industry, and the first one was sound. When sound got into movies, like everything changed from that point on. And all the stars that used to be fell off considerably, and it became like an entirely new industry almost overnight.
By the way, do you know that light is how they record sound on motion pictures?
Are you talking about optical?
Yes, optical
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
So there is a Netflix
for writing or for transferring.
for transferring. Yes.
Yeah.
So originally, though, when they recorded it live, that's how they recorded it. There was actually a bulb that was like flashing onto the side.
Yeah,
of
to
thing.
the mag.
If there is a Netflix series that's just like, hey, it's the high end version of Rob Explains Everything, which is just basically like the thing you never knew that seems really interesting. Check this out. And I was watching it, and I'm like, motherfucker.
Is it explained? Is that the one you were?
Explained, yeah.
Yeah.
And they talk about maybe actually it wasn't explained. Maybe no, this was a BuzzFeed series.
Oh, gotcha.
Because that's what I was thinking. It was like, oh, this is Rob Explains Everything, and then I watched it. I'm like, wow, this is really good production value. This is not Rob Explains Everything at all. But and they were talking about how they use light to flash it on for optical sound, which is how they started matching up the mouse with everything that was being said.
Yeah.
And the first bulb they used too dull. So it made everything go like, and then they got like the brightest bulb that they could that had the fastest flash rate. Success for sound. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but
Sound in
anyway,
movies. Paramount moment.
the next moment was US v. Paramount, because it changed how the movie business could operate, because they weren't allowed to own every part of the production chain anymore.
Followed many years later by the Friends decision.
Well, that one wasn't like a paradigm shift, but it was different. That one was weird to explain.
Yes.
Like that's a like yes, saying awful things about actors in the room is part of the creative process. Like it has been decided.
Yeah. This is a really horrible line of questioning. Why would we want to put this in our show? Schwimmer's terrible. Let Schwimmer do it. Like, okay, we'll just write this in for Schwimmer.
But yes, so they're discussing dropping basically the decision that came from US v. Paramount, arguing that the movie industry is different than it was before.
Right.
But I argue that this might be more evidence that we need it more now than ever, because every single one of these streaming services is built off of the property that we own and are able to get the rights back for. I mean, like, you know, the idea of, you know, Warner Brothers was the studio who made all these, like The Office and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now Warner Brothers is owned by AT&T, which has HBO Max. So we get The Office coming back to the Warner Brothers owned thing.
Yeah.
So it's Warner Brothers company owning a Warner Brothers distributed product on a Warner Brothers streaming network. We're basically doing the same exact thing, only in a different way. But they're arguing that because now it's all digital, it's not quite the same thing.
Right.
And now, as a consumer, you're going to have to buy 15 different things because there's no like real free market of the ability to find this show. Like,
this is in effect, and you are already seeing like Disney Plus and that kind of stuff. And essentially what we would prefer to see is that someone come in and say, hey, this consent decree we have about theaters is actually should apply to the digital space. And you can't have Disney Plus where you only show Disney movies and you force the consumer to buy just that.
Yeah.
That you have to bundle this with something else or else it's monopoly. And instead, we're going the other direction, which, by the way, should not surprise you about the Trump administration because they're also the ones who said, hey, racism? What racism? We live in a post-racist society, so we don't need the Voting Rights Act anymore.
Yeah.
And they wound down the Voting Rights Act. So
there is an argument I guess you could make if you drop USV Paramount that there are things for the consumer that they would enjoy. I mean, like, I feel like in time, I can't really put like a fine year on it, like whether it'd be a decade or whether it'd be longer than that or something like that. But eventually, I imagine Netflix, they bought the Egyptian in Hollywood. So I imagine they have theaters all over the country that sort of act as, if you want to watch Netflix with people,
there you go.
You have a membership, which allows you entrance into the Egyptian theater. You have like purchased a ticket, like a free ticket with your membership to Netflix. Comes the Egyptian for this 8:00 show into The Irishman, and you can watch it with a group of people, and you don't even have to worry about and if it's a membership club and it's not like you're buying tickets, then I mean,
and look, ideally, if everything worked best for the consumer, and we can all agree capitalism does not work that way, this would actually be really good because if I could go see Star Wars at AMC and I paid $18, or I could go to the Disney theater and see it for $12, because basically what they're saying is we don't have to take out the overhead of AMC.
And I mean, like they're doing this with net neutrality right now, where all the telecom companies are trying to front load all the things that the consumers would like about net neutrality being overturned, so it makes it seem like it's a really great deal for everybody. And then after you get comfortable with it, 10 years from now, it starts getting really terrible.
Yeah, so then
Like,
10 years from now, Corey's got a kid who wants to see the newest Disney movie, and he's got to go to the Disney theater where it's $25 for children only. And then for an adult, it's like, throw another 10 on top. But they know they got you, because if you want to see Beauty and the Beast 7, you have to go to the Disney theater. And you want a child's popcorn? Oh, that's going to be another $17, my friend. Yeah. But because you have a screaming kid who's saying, I want to see, she's sitting at home watching her Disney Plus. She watches Beauty and the Beast 1 through 6.
I don't want popcorn. All right. The popcorn will be 75 cents. I want popcorn. $75.
All right. Well, yeah, but I mean, it's they have the ability to control the thing.
Demand pricing.
They dump all the advertising onto Disney Plus, and your kid's watching Disney Plus, watching Beauty and the Beast 1 through 6, and then says, well, 7's coming out in the theater, but the only place you can see it is at a Disney theater. And then you go there and you realize like it's $40 for a ticket because the only place you can see it is at the Disney theater. And they know Corey is a sucker, and he's got this cute little girl screaming in his ear to go see it.
And if some other theater wants to pay the rights to get it, they're also going to have to pay for every other movie that Disney releases, whether or not they're good or not. Which is really what the problem was, is that like these independent theaters which were running outside of the studio system were, saying like, okay, I want the new Beauty and the Beast for my theater. It's like, well, I mean, if you want to just buy that one, it's going to cost a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But if you want to buy our entire catalog, then you can sort of like spread that money over a lot of different.
But all of those are stinkers.
But you have to show every single one of those movies.
Half of them are stinkers. Yeah. No one's going to come see it. And then it ends up that the independent theater charges $40 as well, because they have to make up the money that they're going to lose on all of these screens that are going to sit empty. And by the way, Disney does that so that at Disney theaters, they can put Beauty and the Beast 7 on all 14 screens. But to go to the independent theater, you're going to have one screen plus a bunch of other screens with all the bullshit they make you buy.
This I wasn't expecting that this was going to become news today, but it's very interesting, and I would keep an eye out over the next couple days and sort of see where people lie on it.
Yeah.
As it reports a little bit more, get a Kim Masters on it.
Yes, Kim. Let's hear it, Kim. All right, so moving on because we have a couple more things to get to, and not a lot of time. Trump. So a little bit of Trump news this week.
Let's just super lightning round this one.
So Trump made an unexpected visit to Walter Reed. For those of you who don't know, Walter Reed is a military medical hospital, but it's where the president goes for medical care when he's in D.C. And I think you put it aptly in the pre-show discussion when you said, nothing's wrong with him. He's just going there to set up so that he could claim to have a medical problem down the road.
I mean, if I'm sure you didn't do this, but there's other less reputable lawyers who used to send their clients after a car accident to the special place to get the...
I didn't do MedMal and I didn't do car accidents specifically because it gets you in this gray area where you're like, listen, I don't want to hear
see
anything.
my doctor, Dr. Juan.
And then all of a sudden, it's all that Dr. Juan.
He'll do all the free X-rays for you.
Yeah.
I have a thing where
it's all free until and you don't pay unless you collect.
Right.
But I'm going to keep 90% of the award because I got to pay Dr. Juan and I got to pay your orthopedic guide. I got to pay everybody. No, I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
But so I think it's logical to say someone in his staff was saying, Mr. President, we have to exercise all options. Here's one.
We need to have the availability of an out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
much like in a court case, if there's any chance that maybe some psychiatrist might say that you're crazy,
bring him in.
Yeah, just go.
Bring him in.
Just go talk to them and see what they say, because maybe we can get an insanity plea out of this whole thing. And
that might be a good plea for the president to take. I don't know. I can't really say, but I think that there's a.
I didn't know what I was doing because I was insane.
Yes.
Like everything I was doing was because I have a undiagnosed medical issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that so that's one. I don't think that's what they were doing, but I do think that like a heart thing or like
right. Dementia or
he's got some kind of brain thing,
onset Alzheimer's or something like that.
His enzymes are off, which could predict cancer, and he's got to just get out of the White House and focus on whatever this is.
Yeah, he can't be doing the White House and his treatment at the same time, and it's not fair to the American people. So I will respectfully resign and pencil. Pardon me for everything.
Well, and the bigger part is that he steps out of office, and much like Nixon and Ford, the minute he's gone, Pence pardons him for anything that might have occurred between 2016 and 2019 or 2020, I guess probably at this point. And then he gets to walk scot-free on everything. And then maybe Pence goes down for it because apparently the next topic, the impeachment testimony, is really interesting, and it's indicating that maybe everyone in the White House is corrupt as shit, and they all knew about what's going on.
Yeah. So I would like everyone who's listening to the sound of my voice just to do something for me. Just at some point during the course of this next week, you're going to want to turn on some news coverage.
Yeah.
To see what's happening with the impeachment. Feel free to watch whatever network you prefer as much as you feel like you need to.
Fox News?
If that's the one you listen to, then by all means watch your normal regimen to Fox News. But break off a little bit of that time to see how it's being reported elsewhere, because unlike any news story ever in the history of the world, it is more clearly being reported differently on different networks depending on who you watch and who you listen to.
Yeah.
Is giving you a different take on this story. And I'm not saying that's like bad per se, because like people are going to want to hear the news from the slant that they people are more.
That statement should never enter any public parlance. You should not watch the news for your slant.
Rob and I are very different than most normal people. If somebody walks up to Rob and says like capitalism is amazing, you're going to be engaged with that because you want to argue with that person.
Well, I just want to argue with everybody all the time.
You want to be able to win the argument and make your point.
Is there a job where
somebody walks up and is just like, I really like guillotines. You're like, yeah, whatever.
Hey, is there a job where you just argue with somebody like all day, every day? Because I feel like that would be the perfect job for me. Is there that job exist?
Well, I mean, you could run for Congress.
I guess I could. Oh wait, or lawyer. Yeah, no, never mind. Not a fan of that job in particular. So
tried that one.
Tried it.
Hard pass.
Paid a lot. Not worth it.
Yeah, I just I don't know. Like it's just tune into Fox News for like 20. If you're a CNN person, tune into Fox News for 20 minutes and see how it's being reported because it'll fucking blow your mind.
Witch Hunt from Fox News. Heroes of the Republic from CNN, and then MSNBC is given a lot of like, what are they missing? There's a lot of stuff they're not asking.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, wait, what now?
Well, it's like, you know, like when you know, like I like Bill Simmons for sports stuff, right? And he's a very diehard Patriots fan.
Yes.
And it's funny whenever, like, it's
He's
it's
an
funny.
AB fan too, isn't he? Isn't he a huge fan of Antonio?
Well, I mean, he was happy that he got signed and then immediately just like didn't talk about it anymore. He just like disappeared off the map.
Weird. Strange how that happened.
Had an emergency podcast for the Sonic, didn't have an emergency podcast for the Exit. But the what's interesting to me is that like whenever like when the Ravens beat the Patriots, I was like, I can't wait to hear what Bill has to say about this because like he has a tie to this. But then and you know his opinion on it is very slanted because of his fandom. And
listen,
this is the same
that
sort of
boy
thing
might be
like,
real fast, but it's not like he could stand in the pocket. Bill, did you say boy? Did you say boy was real fast? You know what I mean. He's much younger than me, and
he's 22 years old.
Yeah, you know.
In many cultures, you're still considered a boy at this time.
Yeah, especially like upper class white culture in the United States. You're still a child. It's fine.
In Hartford, Connecticut, you're a boy until you're 37 years old.
Baltimore, Maryland, 13. You're a man. So step up and do your time. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. That you're look for the slant. But I think the important thing is when you turn to Fox News, see the slant that they're giving.
Yeah.
And then realize CNN is feeding the exact, well, a different, but same slant.
Yeah.
And you just don't see it because it's slanting exactly how you want it to slant.
Right.
How about this? Try BBC. Try the Wall Street Journal.
I mean, the best way to ever get any kind of news is to watch like the actual thing live and in person and make your own decisions.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true.
I mean, like if you wanted to be a very
not all of us get to sit at home all day.
If you want to be a very informed American, you would watch all 8 hours of the coverage every day.
Now, some of us have to work for a living, Corey. We can't just get to sit at home and watch C-SPAN.
Well, what's more important, your job or America?
I mean, it's possible that neither of those things are going to exist in 5 years, so I don't know. It's a crapshoot, I guess.
I got to look out for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, you mentioned Baltimore.
Yes.
Do you mind if we take a quick stroll down to the Baltimore corner?
Yes. We'll head down to the Baltimore corner where you get the straight dope.
Yes, indeed.
There we go.
Yeah. So a couple things. Just before we get out, I want to start with the SRB here.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
Somebody asked SRB if she was going to run for Elijah Cummings' seat, and she said no. And my first reaction was, why the fuck are we asking Stephanie Rawlings-Blake what she plans on doing?
Well, you know, I feel like somebody probably asked Catherine Pugh, too.
It'd be like if I just sent out on Twitter, I was just like, hey, I heard there's a presidential election at Martin O'Malley. You thinking about running? Like, no, he's not thinking about running.
See, logically, you say he's not, but maybe he is, and maybe we should know that in advance.
He's doing the Bloomberg plan.
Listen, now this election,
wait until
he knows he can't beat
the
Trump.
day before election day.
He knows he can't beat Trump, but he's looking at Pete Buttigieg like, yeah, I'm just as attractive as you. I might be able to beat him in a Democratic round.
I honestly think that if it came down to like a Trump v. Martin O'Malley for the general election, like Trump, like you know how like he was like hanging out on stage like in the background of all of Hillary's shots while she was like during that one debate. I imagine that like instead of a handshake at the beginning, he just like open palm slaps O'Malley in the face and his poll numbers skyrocket.
Here's the thing. He was hanging out creepily.
Because I can't think of anything I would enjoy watching more than O'Malley getting like bitch slapped.
Here's the thing. Here's the creep off. It's Trump hung out creepily behind Hillary. Yeah, but Martin O'Malley also a bit of a creeper. So then like it just turns into like while Trump's talking, you see Martin O'Malley in the back like. And then when Martin's talking, you see Trump in the back like. It's just who can be the more creepy guy? Like who? This is what our republic has come down to: voting for one of these two fools.
Stop asking SRB if she's going to do anything. She's not allowed to run anymore.
Yeah. Also, Catherine Pugh has no opinion. She should not be running for this seat. What was the other woman's name?
Sheila Dixon.
Sheila Dixon should not be running for this seat. Also, Jack Young should not be running for this seat. Although, he has a lot of time on his hands since he's, not out murdering people. So I guess he could.
Quote unquote, not out murdering people. I see your plan.
It's the best alibi ever. Yeah.
Well, people never suspect the person who's talking about it all the time.
Yeah, of course not.
Just like when I'm just like, I hate cheaters. I think it's awful when people cheat on people. It's just like, wow, Corey really hates cheaters. And that's the person you find out is the cheater the most.
Rachel Sanders joining the podcast. Hey, Rachel. Oh, yeah, you tuned in at an opportune time. Yeah.
No, but Jack Young was cornered in the hallway somewhere asking about the murder rate.
Oh, by the way, asking about the murder rate because Baltimore hit 300 murders this week.
November.
In November, which I think might be the earliest of the last 5 years.
Well, we had a very warm summer. So.
Yeah, and hey, listen, and it might cool down. I mean, it might chill out because nor'easter coming in, 9 inches of snow. Hard to get a murder in there when there's 9 inches of snow on the ground.
It's hard to get away when you got to clomp through the snow.
The cops are just looking down like, well, I see some bloody footprints. I feel like we should just follow these. And then
it's real easy to find the shell casings when you just see them burned into the snow.
Yeah, except for let's hope that they all happen in the middle of a shift, because then the cops will look around and be like, listen, if I can't get OT for this, it's not fucking worth it.
Yeah, but so
in the snow with their feet, like, I don't see anything. Let's go.
Jack Young was asked what he's doing about the rising murder rate, and number one, if you're an elected official of any kind, this is not the response you're allowed to have to this.
It's so easy. It's so easy to have a canned response. You made one up on the spot outside.
Give me one. Mayor Cheek, what are you going to do about the rising homicide rate?
Listen, it's very unfortunate. Our city is at a crossroads. We've been working very hard, but these things don't happen overnight. And I know that's no consolation to anyone who's in the city now, but I want you to know that we are working hard every single day. I'm working with the police. I'm working with the commissioner. I'm working with the Department of Public Works to make the city better every single day.
There we go. There's a perfectly done statement.
Also, I am not one of the people murdering anyone late at night in the streets of Baltimore. Just so that's clear.
Don't read Foe. But Jack Young decided to go the opposite tact, and hold on a second. Are
you gonna pull up the actual quote?
I feel like I should just try.
Go ahead and pull up the actual quote. But so generally, your elected officials can say, "Hey, I'm smart enough not to give you a soundbite." And I should say that, but Trump is not. He's a guy who's just like, yeah. No, I mean, there wasn't a quid pro quo. I just told him we were going to hold on to the money unless they investigated Biden. And you know what? I'll make the same offer to China. I want China to start investigating the situation, and Russia too. Russia, if you could do that as well, and just like walk into the more of the problems. But generally, local officials don't do that. It's why Pete Buttigieg is so good.
Let's see if this works.
Okay, are we gonna try plays? Let's go.
Sorry, mute that part first.
Yep, mute that, and here we go.
He walked into it twice.
Twice,
motherfucker.
And if you're a young political science student out there, I want you to just rewatch this a million times and know this is not how you answer that question.
Not only is he buying into the premise of like he did something wrong, but he's also like saying like I didn't commit these murders, the police commissioner didn't commit these murders, the city council didn't commit these murders. Like, yeah, we fucking know. It's the problem that you guys can't figure it out.
Yeah, the fault of leadership isn't that you're actually murdering people. You're not doing anything.
You probably shouldn't say fault of. Your dad goes in for an emergency surgery, and they lose him during the operation, and the surgeon comes out, and he goes like, listen, I didn't commit the malpractice. I don't know anybody at this hospital who commits the malpractice. It's like, why did you fucking say malpractice?
Why are you?
What did you put in their mind?
Yeah, why are you?
What are you doing?
Listen, I'm not the one who shoved cheeseburgers in his mouth all his life and gave him all of the heart condition. I'm just the one who is here to try to clean it up, and I don't know why you're holding me responsible for cleaning it up. What am I in charge of this situation? No, I'm just here. I'm just here giving you news.
What was
That's
I
all.
duly elected for some sort of position?
Well, to be fair, he wasn't elected mayor. That was
Well, he was elected city council president. You had to know. Just like when you were voting for McCain and you knew that Palin was on the ticket. You had to know.
which is why he didn't
You
get
were
elected.
one heartbeat away.
One unstable heart attack
One
ridden
bum
heart.
ticker from a POW.
To be fair, he survived a Vietnamese prison camp. I think he would have been fine in the White House. Especially in 08. It was a much friendlier situation then.
And the fact that he lived all the way until 2018,
Yeah.
I guess, sort of helped that argument.
Do you
But
think-
maybe if he had the stress of the presidency.
But do you think there was any part of him that just wanted to come out anytime, after 2008, like 12, 14, and be like, yeah, by the way, news, I'm still here.
Still here.
Still
by
here.
the way.
Ticker still doing good.
See, I feel like there's like some sort of art, like, much like, if you left your house like 5 minutes earlier.
Something just fell off. I don't know what this is, but it literally just fell out of nowhere. Do you know what that is?
That's weird.
Where did it come from?
I don't know. Maybe the trash can?
I literally something just hit the floor and I found the piece and it didn't come off the ceiling.
Weird.
That is odd.
Well,
Disconcerting to say the least.
you know where you can find out about that and many other mysteries?
Where's that?
OhTheAnthem.com. Corey to OhTheAnthem.com. Oh, the Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. You can find more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoreyBakerFilm, and at LegendCB5 on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And doing a review probably for Thursday, hopefully. So we'll see what's up. I'm so fascinated watching you looking around for what.
Because this is disturbing as shit. A piece of plastic fell out of nowhere. I'm like looking around. There's no brown plastic anywhere in this room.
Something tells me we're going to find it pretty easily once we're stopped.
I hope so. So I've been doing a lot of research into the Mandela effect. Let's get through that. Sorry. And you can find more of me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com where you can find links to everything, including the video series I'm doing, the Everyman movie reviews. You can find that on YouTube at youtube.com/RobCheek. And the Rob Explain Everything series, which is just me explaining very complex things very simply in theoretically a short time. But you can also find links to the books, which are available on Amazon.
Barrow's books.
Thank you, sir. So I've been doing a lot of research into Mandela effect, and one of the things is that sometimes the universes cross and information just gets confused in the moment. And the paper I read about it said that things may just like appear in the universe. Now, what it really talks about is you see a building that's been there and somebody's like, no, but the building's been there forever. But you have been to that street and you know that building was not there.
Yeah.
That's not really a Mandela effect, but it's related. And they're just like, yeah, so the reality is that building wasn't there. But when the universes crossed, it basically like left an imprint and said, this building, which exists in universe A, but not in your universe, universe B, when they impact each other, like leaves an imprint and actually that building now will always be there and has always been there in your universe.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this piece of plastic
It's a way of the other universe trying to communicate with
is
you.
if we just fell into another universe. Or is it possible, what's his name from Interstellar? Oh, man.
Oh,
All right.
McConaughey?
Yes. I
Yeah.
wonder if Matthew McConaughey is trying to send us a message. Fifth dimension.
I guess we'll never know. Or if we do know, we'll tell you next week.
Probably yes.
Yeah. But I think we've done good here today.
Stumble into the finish line. We've done something. I don't know if it's
Well, as soon as the mystery piece of plastic that came together, we're no good anymore. We're just,
I'm disturbed.
we're just like monkeys with the bone in the beginning. Of,
2001.
Yeah.
But I'm like very tired, and this has now consumed my paranoid brain. And then I thought maybe Dummy in there had thrown it at us. So now I'm just like, did he fucking throw this and I didn't see him?
Slide it across the floor.
Yeah,
underneath
something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the Oh the Anthem podcast, part of the Oh the Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Arriva Dirce.
Oh, new review for Corey on
Thursday, hopefully.
Why are you taking my day? Why you moved to my day?
I always had that day.
No. You were on Monday.
I was doing Mondays and Thursdays. When I was doing...
Well, you were doing Mondays, and then there was no post for a while on Thursdays, so I took Thursdays. Now you're on Thursdays. Well, find the better version of that review on my channel on Thursdays, and then one other day in the middle, some other time. But Thursday?
Yeah.
What are you doing on Thursday?
I don't know. Well, I gotta find something to see.
Oh, well, I have.
If nothing else, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna I want to catch Dolomite as my name. So.
I have bulked up 5 brand new reviews coming at you, and we're gonna get another
brand new reviews for things that happened earlier in 2019.
No, Lighthouse, Parasite. Oh, Parasite I just released. Lighthouse. I got a lot of good stuff coming. In fact,
I just saw Spider-Man drop
Yeah. Did you watch that one yet?
No.
My justification was I recorded it because I was like, oh, Disney Plus, Marvel, great. This is a good time to go back. And then I realized Spider-Man not on Disney Plus. So, oh, well. Anyway,
one of these days.
A lot of new videos, a lot of new projects, a lot of things coming out. Check out the channels, the various channels.
Yeah.
But most importantly, youtube.com/Show the Anthem.
Indeed.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Bye.